Good evening, everyone. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm David Corwin. I'm the Program Coordinator for Women and Gender Studies, and I'm here to introduce our first speaker, who's one of my very favorite people here at Mason, Dr. LisaLindley. Dr. Lindley is an Associate Professor of Global and Community Health and an affiliate faculty member of the Women and Gender Studies program. Her research focuses on health education and HIV and STI prevention with a special focus on marginalized populations. Dr. Lindley is an integral part of both Women and Gender Studies and LGBTQ resources and represents both of our programs very well. She continues to serve on a variety of committees in both offices, and she's very committed to the work we do, and she's always there to lend a helping hand right when we need her. So please join me in welcoming Dr. LisaLindley.
Thanks, David. I'll pay you later. Hi. All right. Well, good evening, and thank you seriously, David, for your warm introduction. I really am truly honored to be with you all this evening and to be a part of this celebration as we recognize and honor the hard work, dedication, and accomplishments of some of Mason's most extraordinary students. But I'm a little biased. I'm thrilled to see all of your bright and enthusiastic faces, as well as those of your incredibly proud professors. Are there professors in here? I'm here. Okay, I'm proud. I'm proud of you guys. Advisors, family members, and friends. And honestly, we're all genuinely excited for you as you move on and face new adventures in life. Now, in preparing to speak to you today, I did something that I hate when my own students do it, so naturally I decided to do it. I looked up the meaning of the word success. And of course, in doing so, I found dozens upon dozens of quotes and definitions from a variety of sources. But there were a few that stood out to me that I thought I'd share with you. One is from John Wooden, the legendary basketball coach. And he said, "Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing that you did your best to become the best you're capable of becoming." Pretty cool. Maya Angelou, the famous poet laureate, said, "Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it." Henry David Thoreau, the famous writer, pointed out that success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. But this is my favorite. I particularly like this one from Winston Churchill. "Success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm." So I can relate to that. As some of you may know, I'm actually an alumna of Mason from a few years ago. And actually, prior to my graduation, I learned that I was going to receive an award, the Outstanding Senior in Health Education Award. And of course, I was very excited, but you have no idea how excited I was to tell my parents, because they had become a bit disillusioned with me after reading my senior quote in the Mason yearbook. Do they even have a Mason yearbook still? I wasn't even aware they had one at the time, so this might explain. But apparently my parents were expecting me to quote something deeply meaningful and moving from someone like Tennyson or Thoreau. But instead I quoted one of my favorite characters from Saturday Night Live, Rosanna Dana, who said, "It's always something." And I'm sorry, that has been more true than you will know. And similarly, while I would love to share inspirational stories about my educational brilliance and clear career goals I'd had set for myself at that time, I really can't. Although I did dress up as a sex worker for a group presentation about the health belief model in my behavioral theory class. But I'll leave that story for another occasion. But it did have to do with encouraging condom use, which is important. So, actually, when I look back to that time in my life, although I was clearly enjoying myself at school, I was also still very much trying to figure out who I was and what I was going to do with my life. Today, I recognize just how fortunate I was to have had one of my professors, Dr. Roseanne Benson, offer to mentor and guide me in the next steps of my career. Dr. Benson encouraged me to continue my education and to apply to graduate school, but not just any graduate school, to accredited schools of public health, which I knew little to nothing about at the time. And because I was young and inexperienced and thought I knew everything, I wasn't quite sure about the whole public health thing yet, because I thought, what do professors know, right? Thank God I'm the only one here that's a professor. Okay. But I decided to apply to physical therapy schools as well, which, by the way, I wasn't really qualified for. Thankfully, the universe and Dr. Benson knew better, because I didn't get accepted into a single physical therapy program, but I was accepted to every public health program to which I applied. I ended up attending the School of Public Health at the University of South Carolina. Go Cox! Right. Gamecocks, of course, is what I mean. I'll get you a t-shirt that you can wear. Go Cox is fantastic. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I went to South Carolina. I fell in love, and I truly did. I fell in love with public health. And I went on to earn both my master's and doctoral degree in one of the most prolific or top programs in the country at the time. I'm also extremely grateful for another mentor in my life, Dr. Donna Richter, with whom I worked at the University of South Carolina, and with whom I remain in contact today. You see, I wanted to work in HIV/AIDS education and prevention, and Dr. Richter was the director of the South Carolina AIDS Training Network at South Carolina. I started working for Dr. Richter in 1991, when HIV was the leading cause of death among young adults in the United States. And it was the same year that Magic Johnson disclosed his HIV status and retirement from the NBA. Working with Dr. Richter provided me with so many professional opportunities, and I'm so grateful for today. I got to work with experts across the state to train healthcare providers and social service providers in HIV prevention, testing, care, and treatment. I frequently traveled to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta to meet with project officers and to learn about the latest effective HIV interventions. I networked with other HIV and public health professionals and traveled all over the country, conducting research, attending meetings, and presenting at national conferences. And I loved every minute of it. It certainly provided a solid foundation upon which I built my career. Bless you. But by far the most meaningful opportunities and experiences I've had throughout my career, and the ones for which I'm most grateful, because they ultimately shaped who I am as a person, as well as a health professional, were those where I worked directly with the people I was trained to serve. I had the privilege to work closely with people living with or affected by HIV/AIDS, people who I thought were very different from me, people with different sexual orientations and gender identities, people from different racial and ethnic groups, people who were homeless, addicted to a variety of substances, incarcerated, people who had been physically or sexually abused or suffering from mental illness, people who lived in extreme poverty in very remote rural areas with zero resources, and people who'd been disowned by their families, churches, and communities. Despite our apparent differences, I very quickly learned that we were not that different at all. There, but for the grace of God, go I, was an important lesson I took to heart. Working with the HIV/AIDS community profoundly changed me in how I approach my work. I stopped seeing people as clients, patients, or target populations, and finally saw them as real human beings. I learned to set my ego aside and to listen. And in doing so, I learned lessons that no textbook could ever teach, including things about myself and my own preconceptions. Ironically, however, the most important lesson I learned was that it's not about me. My work, our work, always should be about the people we've been trained to serve. Even today, as I worry about grant funding and publications and preparing for classes and conference presentations, which are all very important, I try to remember the reason why I do what I do, to hopefully benefit others. Now, I have to say that before I could genuinely focus on others, particularly within the HIV/AIDS and LGBT-related work that I did, I had to first confront some of my own fears. Not so much fear of failure or fear of being harmed, although those certainly were concerns I had, but rather fear of how others would see me and my work, and whether their perceptions or misperceptions might negatively affect my work and career. In fact, one of my professors and mentors suggested that I should remove my LGBTQ-related work from my CV as I applied for faculty positions. He was afraid it might hinder me from getting a job or even an interview. I told him no then, and I still believe today, It's important to be honest about what I do and what I believe. Besides, like I told him, it would let me know who the bigots were. Actually, over time, I've found my LGBTQ-related work to be much more of an asset than anything else. And it has led me to fully embrace who I am and what I do unapologetically. Most importantly, it has strengthened my resolve and even stiffened my spine to fight against those forces I initially feared. So STAR students and soon-to-be graduates of George Mason University, remember this. You have already proven yourselves to be successful. As students of life, as leaders and social justice advocates, achievements for which you should be extremely proud. I'm sure many of you, like I, benefited from having wonderful mentors help guide you along the way. So don't forget to acknowledge them in their efforts, and stay in touch as you move forward in your lives and careers. Lastly, don't lose sight of the reasons why you do what you do, or the people that you serve. Be brave and face your fears. Follow your passion, stay focused, and check yourself and your ego when necessary. Because as I have found, it's when we're fighting for and serving others that we find the most satisfaction in our work and continued success in life. Good luck in your future endeavors, and congratulations once again. Thank you. David, I'll take my check over here.